MacGyver from Pegasus Valley and Dragonspine. And today I'm going to teach you how to make a beading loom from simple materials that might already be lying around your house, like 2x4s and of course, paper clips. The first component of the MacGyver Beading Loom is a workbench. Mine is a 125 Workmate from Black & Decker. We happen to have a Workmate in our garage already, but you can also pick these up at a hardware store or online for about $30. One of the most essential features of this is that you can narrow and widen the base. This is really essential for when you're beading, that you can increase or decrease the tension of your strings. The other thing I love about this workbench is that it's portable. It's easy to pack up and take with you wherever you want to go for crafting. The only drawback to this particular Workmate is that the assembly instructions are very poorly written, and it's a bit difficult to put together. But it's nothing a little duct tape can't fix. Okay, now that you have your Workmate, you want to take these orange stoppers and put them in the middle, facing out. Then you want to find two pieces of wood. These are 20 inches long. It doesn't particularly matter the dimensions, except that they're thin enough that they can fit on your platform without falling off. Once you have your two pieces of wood, you want to put nails into one of them, about 1 inch apart. Now, I was doing a fairly wide project, so I used 7. But if you're doing a smaller project, you could use 3 or 4. On the other piece of wood, in the end, I put little eyelets. These are actually on the top, but you could easily put them on the edge as well. I used eyelets because that's what was in my toolbox, but you could certainly use nails instead. The final thing that you're going to put into these pieces of wood are a couple of nails on top. Now, how far apart these nails are will depend on what kind of spring you use. I was doing a very large project, and so for this component of the MacGyver loom, I used very wide springs. These are still very affordable, about $3 at the local hardware store. Each little piece of the spring should be approximately as wide as one of your beads. The final piece of your loom is something that will hold these boards onto your workbench. Now, I use regular clamps that I found around my garage. But if you don't have clamps, duct tape will work just fine. So now I'm going to show you how to string your loom. My current project has 65 beads across, and so I'm going to make 66 strings and group them into groups of 11. Now, you want your string to be long enough that it can easily go across all of the entire workbench when it's at its maximum tension. So I'm going to make my strings about 1.5 feet. Once you have your first bundle, you're going to create a slip knot in one end, so it's easy to get out at a later time. That slip knot is going to go around your first nail, your first peg. And then you want to take your Workmate and bring it together as close as possible. This makes it easier for you to do tension at a later time. I'm going to take each string and put it through one of the cracks in the springs. If that's difficult, then move the nails that are holding your spring on farther apart. Now, if your beads are a little bigger, it's definitely easy to just skip a few rungs if you'd like. Once you have your first row of beads, this is not nearly as important And down at this end, if they're not exactly precise, it's really quite okay. But in the beginning, especially for those first couple rows, it's really helpful to have them precisely aligned. Now, on this end over here, you don't want to tie it on firmly. You're just going to wrap it around a few times, your nail or your eyelet or whatever you have. And then what I like to use is either a paper clip or just a little clamp that I found in my drawer in my house. And we're going to do that for the next several sets of string. It is hugely unfun when your strings pop out of the spring. So what I use are some barbecue skewers, and you just slide them in on top of the strings, and that keeps your strings from popping out. And you're good to go.